Welcome to today's video. So in today's video, I'm going to speak to you about 6 tips that you can potentially use to reduce the chances of you overeating. And I say potentially because obviously no approach is ever going to be 100% foolproof. But I'm very sure that at least one of the following tips, if you apply them, give it a chance, I'm sure it's going to work quite well for you, and it could be a massive game changer on your fitness journey, because I've used these tips myself with great success. And not only just on myself, I've used them with my Cravings online members, and I can say that it has been a massive game changer for a lot of us. So you're going to find out some secrets now. Anyway, to get stuck into these 6 tips, in no particular order, by the way, and the first one is the apple test, and it's as simple as it sounds. So whenever you're next craving something, ask yourself if you'd eat an apple. As simple as that. If you wouldn't eat an apple, then you're not hungry, you're bored. If you would eat an apple, then maybe you are hungry, so go have one. And literally, that's all it is. So, these tips obviously aren't going to be the most complicated tips in the world. But again, if you maybe try it, give it a chance, it could work. Now, the second tip is to wait 20 minutes first. And it's as straightforward as it sounds. So rather than telling yourself you can't have something and then going all out on it, which is what often happens when we ban ourselves from eating specific foods, instead, try this. Tell yourself that you can in fact have it, but you must wait 20 minutes first. And if after 20 minutes you still want it, have it. And I bet you'll be surprised as to how well that one works as well. And this third tip is actually a really good one I've used with Cravings online members, and it's do not eat straight from the packet. Because a lot of overeating happens when we're eating straight from the packet, which at times can feel bottomless. If you're going to have a bag of cookies in front of you or a bag of Sour Patch Kids and the entire, family bag is there, then it's very hard to stop yourself eating. So the way this tip would work is you grab a bowl, and you're going to put everything that you're going to eat inside that one bowl. So let's say you're going to have 4 or 5 cookies, you put 4 or 5 cookies in that bowl, and then you put the actual bag with the remaining cookies away, like far away, put it away out of reach. So now you can eat everything inside that bowl, but once you finish what was inside that bowl, no more. It's done. You can't have any more. And obviously that's going to be very different and a lot easier to stop rather than if you're eating from the packet directly. So that's the third tip. Now there's 3 more tips to go. So I'm going to go into tips 4, 5, and 6. So starting with tip number 4 is stop always relying on willpower. Relying on willpower is a massive mistake a lot of people make when they're starting on their fitness journey. And I know right now you think that all you have to do is just say no to everything. Like it's that easy. It's not. Relying on willpower is hard for everyone, even what looks like the most motivated of people on their fitness journey. The reason why people who are consistent with their fitness journey are consistent is because they optimize their environment to reduce the chances of them relying on willpower. For example, if you know you're going to have a hard time putting down the family bag of Kit Kat chocolates or the bag of cookies again, then don't buy it. Do not buy it. It's as simple as that. If you're going to bring it in the house, then obviously it's going to be more tempting and therefore you're likely going to have it. And now I know that's not always possible. For example, you might have kids or you might share a house with someone else and then they bring it in. Then obviously you seeing it there makes you want to have it. In that case, suggest maybe putting it really out of reach, just somewhere where it's not easy to get to. So for example, what you could do is put it in a cupboard, and the cupboard needs a key. For example, if you have that luxury, put it in a room that needs a key basically. And then you put the key on the opposite side of the house. And then little inconveniences like this does mean that you are going to reduce the chances of you overeating. I know it might not sound like it does, but trust me, that works very effectively, because sometimes when it's just very in reach, it's just easy to grab something and then eat it. Whereas if you have to consciously walk to the other side of the house, grab the key, and consciously walk back, unlock the door, and consciously go into, there's a lot more minor barriers in the way. And then, as you're doing that, you're really going to ask yourself if you genuinely want it or not. Again, I know that might sound a little bit strange, but trust me when I say you will be surprised as to how well that works. I actually done that with my Nintendo Switch. So you don't even have to do that with food. I didn't put it behind the key, but I put it like on the opposite side of the house in a drawer. And actually the drawer did have a lock. So it was still easy to get to, but it was just more inconvenient. And I went from playing it like, I don't know, however many hours a week to almost nothing. I barely touch it anymore. So going on to the next tip, tip number 5 is to optimize your environment. And I guess this kind of goes under the same umbrella as point number 4. So let's put it like this. And this is just going to be one example, but I'm sure you will be able to come up with your own. So let's say right now you've got a bowl in the middle of your dining table, and that bowl is full of treats, crisps, chocolates, cookies, whatever. How about instead of doing that, you fill up that bowl with something like fruit? Again, optimizing your environment, because if they're there sitting in front of you, cookies, crisps, treats, obviously you're going to be, again, more likely to just reach out, mindlessly eat it, mindlessly snack on it. And of course, it's just going to make life much harder for yourself. when it comes to trying to not eat these highly palatable foods. So yeah, replace it with something like fruit. And again, that's not to say you can't have those treats in the house, but just don't make it so easily accessible if you are going to. And then the final tip is to not go grocery shopping or food shopping, depending on whatever you call it, on an empty stomach. Because if you go food shopping on an empty stomach, then the chances of you buying rubbish, for lack of a better word, is going to be much higher, because everything is going to seem so much more appetizing to you. This is something I've experimented with myself, and I can confirm it's true. So go, if possible, of course, when you're feeling more satisfied, because when you're feeling more satisfied, you are likely going to make more sensible decisions. Otherwise, that's about it. These tips, then, they were never going to be the most complicated of tips, and sometimes you will be surprised that it's the more straightforward sounding tips that can actually just work amazingly well. So do give at least one a try. Let me know how it goes, whether you could email it to me. I'll leave my email in the caption of this video, or you can drop it in the comments and you can let me know how it went for you. And hopefully it is that game changer. And you know what? Even if you don't need to hear these tips, I'm sure you know someone that does. I'm sure you know at least one person that needs to hear these tips. So how about you share this video with them? Yeah, share this video with them. And before you do, like it and subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't already. I'll see you around.